Salve, in this video we're going to learn about the imperfect tense. Up to this point we've only seen verbs in the present tense, meaning things that are happening now. So a present tense verb such as ambulant means they walk or they are walking. The imperfect tense is used to show events in the past, but more specifically it's used for actions that were in the process of happening in the past and hadn't been completed yet. So something such as they were walking would be in the imperfect tense. It can also be used for actions that occurred repeatedly or over an extended period of time in the past. So in English we could get they walked or even they kept walking for the imperfect tense. So, just like we did with the present tense, to form these in Latin we're going to have a set of endings that we attach to a verb to indicate that it's in the imperfect tense. And those endings are bam, bas, bat, bamus, batis, and bant. So obviously the presence of the letters ba in the ending are going to be our indicator that we're dealing with imperfect tense. So let's add these endings to some verbs. First, let's use the first conjugation verb ambulare, meaning to walk. Just like we did in the present tense, we're going to use the second principal part, i.e. the infinitive. We'll remove the re from that form, just like we did before. And then we add the ending, so we get ambulabam, ambulabas, ambulabat, ambulabamus, ambulabatis, and ambulabant. In English, we'll get I was walking, you were walking, he or she was walking, we were walking, you were walking, and they were walking. Also, we could have had they walked for this third person plural form. We could have walked for any of these instead of was or were walking. All right, now a second conjugation verb. We'll use manere, meaning to stay. As we did before, we drop the re, add the ending, and we get manebam, manebas, manebat, manebamus, manebatis, and manebant. In English, we would have I was staying, you were staying, he or she was staying, we were staying, you were staying, and they were staying. Again, they stayed would be an acceptable translation as well. Okay, for third conjugation, we'll use currere, meaning to run. Just like before, we drop the re and add the ending. However, in third conjugation, we usually have been changing that remaining e to something else, an I or a U. Here we're not going to have to do that. So we just get curebam, curebas, curebat, curebamus, curebatis, and curebant. The translation will be I was running, you were running, he or she was running, we were running, you were running, and they were running. All right, now let's look at another verb, facio facere. This is a third conjugation verb, but it's an io verb, which means to make or to do. So, if we're dealing with one of these verbs that has an io in the first principal part, we're going to end up with an ie right before the ending in the imperfect tense. So we get faciebam, faciebas, faciebat, faciebamus, faciebatis, and faciebant. Just remember that for third and fourth conjugation verbs, if you see an io here, you'll have an ie here right before the ending. All right, so this verb in English is going to be I was making, you were making, he or she was making, we were making, you were making, and they were making. All right, for fourth conjugation, we'll use audire as our example, and we do just the exact same thing that we did before. Since it starts with an IO, we'll have an IE before the ending, and we'll get audiebam, audiebas, audiebat, audiebamus, audiebatis, and audiebant. In English, we get I was listening, you were listening, he or she was listening, we were listening, you were listening, and they were listening. Of course, the verb esse is irregular, so it's going to do something different here. So for the imperfect forms of this verb, we're going to have the following: eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, and erant. In English, for eram, we'll have I was. Eras means you were. Erat is going to be he, she, or it was. Or it could also be there was, if that happens to make more sense in the context. In the plural, we have eramus is we were, eratis, you were, and erant, they were. Again, we could translate this as there were, and that would be fine as well if the context supports that. All right, the imperfect forms of possum will be the exact same thing as what we just saw, but with a prefix added. So we'll get poteram, poteras, poterat, poteramus, poteratis, and poterant. The English translation of this will be I was able, you were able, he or she was able, could be it was able as well. We were able, you were able, and they were able. Okay, that is it for the imperfect tense. Please let me know if you have any questions. Wale.